Hi, Leos, and welcome to your November 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you all about the lovely month of November for you. Very much a month of strength gaining for you, a month of gain in general, as I feel that you are starting to really shed that previous indecisiveness. Okay, so indecisiveness is something I really want to talk about in your reading today, and I want to talk about overcoming that and starting to really get some progress through this month. But if you're new, let me introduce how these readings work. First of all, I'll just be talking about some intuitive messages that I got when I meditated, thinking about Leo in November. Then I'll do this week-to-week tarot spread, then an extended reading on Patreon. Which will be linked below. Be sure to subscribe if you're new and if you like the reading, of course. But yes, intuitive messages for Leo. Leo Sun, Leo Rising, Leo Moon, or Stellium. So the whole indecisive thing, the whole battle of thoughts, battle of like, I want to do this with my life or that with my life, but they can't coexist, that really gets fractured and fragmented in November, okay? And the universe is probably going to come in and it's going to be like, actually, there's something pretty infinite and pretty combinative about what you're doing right now, and you need to stop being so hard on yourself, is the main thing that I'm hearing for Leo from the universe. It's like, tell them that they have got to stop being so hard on themselves. And it's almost kind of like, as I'm seeing the Strength card, it's what's pulling me the most in this reading. It's like you keep finding beasts to tame, or you keep finding things out of place, or you keep, in an attempt maybe to continue having control, or in an attempt to not lose control, you keep trying to like identify problems so they don't surprise you. So that fear of being surprised or caught off guard is something that's coming up for healing for Leo in November. And not just for you. I would say all the fixed signs, if not all the signs, are there. It's one of the most determining months of this year. We have T-squares, okay? Saturn and Uranus square in Taurus and Aquarius, and then the Scorpio season planets coming up and creating a T-square. It's very tense and it's quite volatile for a lot of people who want to control every single aspect of their lives, who want to be totally, aware of everything before it happens, like people who are too predictive, people who are perfectionists, people who are type A personality, do struggle at this time if they can't accept that there's some good to come from the unknown, or if they can't accept that the unknown is a player in the situation that they're in. So developing a different relationship with the unknown is a big part of your month of November, with the Hanged Man coming up. And also like fear of something being stolen from you. Seven of Swords coming up with the Death card, with the Hanged Man. There's something like, I'm afraid to be in a relationship again. I'm afraid to really take any type of risk because I'm worried something will be taken from me, or somebody will not be virtuous in that equation if I step into it. And that's another thing here. Basically, FEAR, fear. Fear is coming up. That's what I see written over a lot of this reading. And November of 2021, the Scorpio season, part of it especially, is going to kind of like take you to a new fearless level. And it's going to really make that happen, I think. It's not going to really be, at this point in time, a kind of like gentle dipping into that fearless place. It's really going to be like being pushed into a fearless place, because you kind of realize that being so out of it all the time, or being so disconnected from, I don't know, the really important things in your life because you're sidetracked by unimportant details, maybe, you're going to see that that's more of a detriment than any of these fear-based scenarios that you might be trying to prevent in the first place, okay? Another big thing about this month is the strength to release, okay, with Strength in the Death card, and the Hanged Man being your three major arcana cards. It's hard to release right now. We have a major security deficit, I feel like, globally, so we want to compensate by creating individual security. So anything that's been working is hard to let go of right now, even if it's standing in the way of like what we really need to do with ourselves. So that's going to be proven to you over and over again in the month of November. Um, if you need the sort of motivation to step into purpose, I think that the universe is going to really put a lot of strength building exercises on your path so that you're strong enough to do it and so that you can start getting there. Another interesting perspective on this is more wholesome problem solving and less wavering tendencies. So if you've been subscribed for a while, you've probably heard me talking a lot about a tendency to waver between possibilities or waver between decisions. That's really prominent this year because of that feeling that many people have that they don't have control. So they try to kind of prolong a decision-making process, to prolong that kind of like, I can control it. I still have the ability to make the decision. I haven't made a decision yet, so I'm still in control of it. What an incredible dialogue, really. I mean, this is like all the fixed signs are especially here. And, thinking of indecisiveness, if you are struggling with that, basically, that's what I'm understanding that indecisiveness is a need to prolong control. Because as long as we haven't made the decision yet, we still can control how we decide. So if you've been struggling to make a decision, if you've been struggling to commit to something, if you've been struggling to say, okay, I want to go left or right here, I would say that it doesn't really have to do with the outcomes as much as it has to do with you needing to learn something at a soul level about being in this place where you're not on either path yet, or where you're not committed to either direction. And then, the deliberation that happens in that point, that there's something to learn about that. And like, also the fear that we're going to lose power over it if we choose one or the other. A lot of times paths lead back to the same place to some degree. So rarely is it really about the choice that we've made or about the crossroads or which path we go. I mean, yes, it does create huge changes in the experiences along the way, but oftentimes, because of the position that we're in when we make the decision or we choose to go one way or another, that is usually what decides the outcome, not the path either way. So I will just say, like, if you're struggling to decide something, it does mean that you're maybe vibrating in a little bit of a lower dimension, or that you're out of energy, that you've really pushed yourself too far in some way, or that you have so much enjoyment and love of life that you don't want to contract some of that time or energy out. Those are three big possibilities with indecisiveness, and it's good to think about which one of those sides you might be on and how you can still honor the needs presented by those situations. So if you're in a low vibration, like, how can stepping onto this next path elevate your vibration? Okay. If you're, any of those issues that you're dealing with, how can the path that you choose be a solution to it regardless? We really have this kind of control, actually. But if we're afraid of losing control, we think we don't. Okay. Other intuitive messages for Leo in November. Emotional evolution, communication, new form of communication, King of Cups, Page of Swords, Three of Cups. Popularity is growing for you through emotional evolution and through updating your communication style. So maybe you don't have to think so much about how you're communicating. Maybe you don't have to put so much effort into it. Maybe it should be more natural and youthful to get a better result. And also, maybe you don't need to really be emotionally off-put by a lot of these situations you're dealing with too. Maybe there's not a need to be emotionally reacting to some of the things that might be making you feel that way right now. King of Cups is about deliberate emotions. It's about emotional mastery as well. So definitely healing up previous emotional headspace is a big part of this month. And I think that you're going to kind of come out of the month of November feeling a lot more emotionally healthy by, what do I want to say, almost like de-psychologizing the nature of what you're going through right now. It seems like a lot of a psychological battle that you're in, more so than a physical battle. And that's good to know right now as well. So on that note, let's talk about your week to week, Leo. Week number 1, you've got the Death card rooted down by the Two of Wands. Okay, so yes, this is an important week for you. There's something very symbolic about the first week of November. There's something very synchronistic. Something does have to go, though, and you already know what it is. You already kind of know exactly what it is. And you maybe have a little bit of deep thought to partake in the first week of November. Like, do I really want to put off this next big leap or this next big chapter of my life? And for like security purpose, or for like, getting stuff together okay, so here we are presenting these two different paths. On one hand, I think that it's very masterful to slow down right now. I think with these T-squares coming on and the general energy coming in 2022, it's masterful to slow down and to incrementally get where you want to go. But it's almost like some of these increments also require sprinting at the same time. So it's a lot of energy that we're going to need to be spending over the next year. So the first week of November, as we're still strongly in the 2021 cycle at that time, it's good to start preparing early, and it's good to think about what you really want to do with yourself, like what you really want to be participating in, and what you might like to let go of now. As you might know, 8th sign of the zodiac, Scorpio season, October and November of any year, the leaves are falling, they're turning red. The seasons are naturally shifting into a letting go process. So what a beautiful time to let go of something so that you can really get your world in your hands and see how you need to move forward. Always this time of the year. And I don't think many of us are going to be doing that, sadly. I think, and then this is important stuff to talk about, I think that a lot of us are really clinging on to some things and not trusting the next path yet. And I can see how it's very smart in a way to kind of shield ourselves under the umbrella of what is typical for us or what has worked for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that. But that needs to still be right. Like, it can't be wrong. It can't be just for the sake of that. It's got to also start to connect you with things that make you feel more deliberate and more emotionally relevant as well. What I'm trying to say is that if you know that you need to release something, it is a good time, but balance that with future security too. Week number 2, you've got the 7 of Swords rooted down by King of Cups. It's kind of like you are not maybe trusting very easily right now because of previous acts of other people. So other people have maybe mistreated you, or other people took something from you a long time ago, and you are now needing to heal from that and now needing to take emotional mastery over that instead of being a victim to that. So you might be surprised how much some of these previous wounds, emotional wounds, how much they are still impacting your daily decision making. And I would take time in the second week of November to look at that. Like, am I making decisions based in my power now? Or am I still making decisions based on that scarcity and fear from all those years ago? That's really what the second week of November is asking you to step into. And you'd be surprised what you come out of on the other side of that. Third week, Page of Swords, rooted down by Strength. Yes, you've got to start communicating your strength to yourself. Communicating that you're more capable than you think you are. Communicating that you are more abundant than you think that you are. Communicating that there's proof in your surroundings about the status of how far you've come. And based on where you are now as a Leo, like every Leo, based on this, based on the nature of your life right this second, like stamp, third week of November, there's like a stamping based on it. You can basically do whatever you like now and almost have certain success guarantees just by how far you've come now. But you're like kind of afraid that you'll go back to square one or something, or you're kind of afraid that to do what you really want to do, you're going to have to like backtrack or something. And I don't think you're going to have to do that as much as you think. And I almost think that in a way, certain blank pages or certain square ones, certain carte blanche experiences might be a lot more giving than you think as well. So it's just food for thought. It does take a lot of strength to begin, doesn't it? And we're going to be asked, I think, at the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius, as the sun is going to come into conjunction with the nodal axis, and they're about to change signs right after the calendar new year. And it's going to be really deep. Like, we're going to be seeing, like, oh my God, yeah, I've got to do that. Like, I'm getting chills as I'm telling you guys about this, but it's really, really spiritual, esoteric stuff. Not just spiritual and esoteric, but like life force stuff, soul purpose stuff. And we're going to be like, God, I love what I've created, but I've got to really do what matters now. Can I get an amen? Can I get a thumbs up? Can I get a comment for the YouTube algorithm, Leos? I love what I'm doing, but I've really got to now do what I'm meant to do. And you'd be surprised at the connecting point there too, between those two things. Fourth week, the Hanged Man rooted down by 3 of Cups. Okay, so in the fourth week of November, you might have to take a pause and enjoy your life, okay? Take a pause from some of these big, lingering questions and interact with what the universe has given you. I'm getting chills again, Leo. You are right, smack dab in the middle of a super soul purpose, decision-making oriented time. I feel your energy is at some type of precipice of just incredible soul velocity that no other sign is at right now. Because, and why is that? That's because you are the cross in this T-square. We've got Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio represented. And as a Leo, you form the full cross. So you are like the missing component in a lot of situations, which I also think means that you're very relevant for anything you want to involve yourself in, because you're going to kind of fulfill something that seems to be missing. I'm going to have to write that down for you. And so I'm just going to drink some of my Starbucks as well, Leo. I've got a wonderful Starbucks. I hope you might have coffee as well. Okay. So fulfilling a missing space. What does that mean to you in the reverse as well? Like, what do you feel is missing in your life? Do you have some open roles? Do you have some open space that you need to fill as well? What a gift open space is. I've got to say, if any of you have just been through a breakup, or if any of you have like lost something or had to release something, what a gift from the universe it is to have open space. This is when we get to choose what to fill it with, right? And this is one of the most important messages that I hope to communicate on my YouTube channel at all times is maybe a shift in psychology of the collective about what loss means or what release means, because we get so scared of it. We get so afraid of it from like poverty consciousness. We're afraid that loss means starvation, that loss means, homelessness, that loss means hate from other people, or that loss means lack of popularity or something. We really associate it with those types of things, and it's a very different energy from any of that stuff. Loss is always a gift. Loss is always an opportunity, and then how we choose to kind of connect to it. For example, if we have that breakup and we didn't want that breakup, it's very easy to be like, gosh, I'm unlovable, or gosh, I now lack something, or gosh, I now am damaged by not getting what I want. When in reality, the universe is coming in to be like, I want you to have more time to do something else. You've got something else you've got to do. And I've got to tell you, Leos, the reason I started my YouTube channel 5 years ago was because I experienced loss. And without that loss, I wouldn't have started this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel has changed my life in such a positive way. It scares me. And I actually started the YouTube channel with that clarity. And I think that it has really held true in my case, because I would not have been able to interpret that loss all those years ago in any positive way at all. But I think that that's what we have to do now too. And some of us have like deliberate release to do. So loss is different than deliberate release. To me, loss is something that's out of our control. Like when you lose a relationship or when you lose a loved one, this is not something that you really initiated. So like a breakup that you initiate or a job that you quit, this is not to me the energy of loss. This is like the energy of deliberate release, which is different. What a great topic for video. I need to make a specific video on this stuff because a lot of clarity is coming through here. I just have to write it down. Deliberate release versus loss. That's going to be a great video. Okay, you know, I think that you're more on the side of deliberate release than you are loss right now, Leo. And I do think there are some things that you need to deliberately release. I feel like you're carrying too much. Seven of Swords, and it's sharp stuff too. It's not really inconsequential stuff. And it's also really nice to be in that place where you can deliberately release something, isn't it? I mean, either way, whether it's loss or deliberate release, it's always, to me, the universe trying to give you something else. So are we willing to release our control freak tendency to be given something, to be gifted something? Or would we rather control a situation that we already have and reject a gift from the universe? Like that's really, I think, where we're at right now. So let's talk more about that in your extended reading, Leo, on Patreon. I want to go ahead and segue over into that because we've spent a lot of time here today. If you haven't checked out my Patreon page, I invite you to now. I'll link it below and in the center of your screen. It's a great little service. I do weekly forecasts every Saturday that are only available over there. And then you also get all the general readings early, ad-free, and extended. And then there's just some other content as well that I do here and there. So it's a great little service. Come and check it out if you've wanted to support an independent creator on YouTube and also get a great, very reasonably priced service. So check that out. And let's go do that extended reading now, Leo. Much love. Bye.